So today, Apple is universally recognized as one of the most valuable companies on Earth. I mean, they're a household name, right? An absolute titan. But to truly understand how they built this massive empire, we actually have to look at the exact moment it almost crumbled to dust. Let's dive right in. Months from bankruptcy. Yeah, in the late 1990s, Apple was in an absolute free fall. It is kind of hard to imagine today, but they were reportedly just 90 days away from completely running out of cash. Industry analysts were literally already writing the company's obituary. The clock was ticking down to zero. So you gotta ask yourself, how did a struggling computer company, a company quite literally on the brink of death, manage to turn the whole thing around and become a trillion-dollar empire? What was the actual formula that allowed them to cheat corporate death and rise to absolute global dominance? To understand this, we're going to trace their journey through four key milestones. 1976, when Apple was born. 1997, when Steve Jobs returns. 2007, the launch of the iPhone. And finally, 2018, hitting that historic $1 trillion mark. Part 1. The Beginning. 1976. Silicon Valley. Okay, so two young innovators, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, started out in this cramped California garage with a pretty radical goal. They wanted to put a computer in every single home, and they executed with incredible speed. The Apple I proved the concept, famously and kind of weirdly, priced at an eyebrow-raising $666.66, but it was the Apple II that really launched the true personal computer revolution. Just like that, a new tech giant was born. Part 2. The darkest years. The 1990s crisis. But, early success absolutely does not guarantee permanent success. By the 1990s, the founders were gone, and honestly, Apple's strategy was a complete mess. They bloated their lineup with all these confusing products. We're talking everything from digital cameras to failed gaming consoles like the Apple Pippin. Meanwhile, Microsoft stepped up and aggressively dominated the computer industry, pretty much leaving Apple just struggling in their wake. Fighting for survival, losses compounded, customers fled. The very pioneers of the personal computer were backed into a corner, just completely paralyzed. Survival was no longer a guarantee for them anymore. It was a daily fight. Part 3. The Comeback. 1997. So in 1997, Steve Jobs finally returns to the company. And the crazy thing is, he didn't try to outproduce Microsoft. He did the exact opposite. He ruthlessly eliminated deadweight. He literally slashed Apple's sprawling product line from roughly 350 products all the way down to just 10. 10! He simplified the entire business model, basically rebuilding Apple's core vision around making just a few truly exceptional things. And well, the fruits of this laser focus completely changed the industry. First came the colorful iMac, which made computers approachable and frankly fun again. Then came the iPod. And this wasn't just another gadget, right? It was a promise, 1,000 songs right in your pocket. It signaled to the entire world that Apple's innovation engine was officially roaring back to life. Part 4. This smartphone era, 2007. By 2007, momentum reached the stratosphere. Jobs introduced the iPhone, but not just as a single device. He pitched it as three: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communicator. It literally consolidated our lives right into our pockets. And then soon after, the App Store launched, which ended up building an entirely new digital economy that would go on to generate billions of downloads. Part 5. A trillion-dollar ecosystem. The Apple experience. At this point, Apple realized they weren't just selling isolated devices anymore. They were selling an interconnected lifestyle. Year after year, they just kept layering on new products. The iPhone was the foundation for sure, but then came the iPad, the Apple Watch, AirPods, and those high-margin digital subscriptions. And here's the kicker. Each new layer didn't just add revenue. It locked the customer deeper and deeper into this incredibly seamless ecosystem. In all of that entire compounding ecosystem leads directly to one incredibly staggering number: $1 trillion. In 2018, history was literally made. Apple shocked the entire business world by becoming the first publicly traded company to surpass a $1 trillion valuation. I mean, think about that. From months away from total bankruptcy to the most valuable company on Earth. Just unbelievable. Part 6. The Apple Formula. What is the exact secret? Well, the secret isn't just one magic pill, right? It's really a combination of 5 core tenets. First, an absolute obsession with elegant design. Second, relentless innovation. Third, a strict commitment to simplicity. Fourth, masterclass branding. And finally, that seamlessly connected ecosystem we just talked about. You see, they don't sell specs, they sell an identity. Every single launch creates massive anticipation because customers genuinely want to be a part of that story. And that brings us to the most profound takeaway of this entire explainer. Focus changes everything. Apple's story proves a really vital lesson for all of us. Great companies, and honestly, great individuals for that matter, are not defined by their failures or their darkest hours. They're defined entirely by how they respond to them. Apple went from the brink of total collapse to unparalleled wealth because they learned to cut out all the noise, focus ruthlessly, and truly think differently. So I want to leave you with this final thought, and really a challenge. Take a look at your own life, your business, your personal projects. Where are you spread too thin right now? How can you apply this lesson of ruthless focus? Because as Apple so clearly showed the world, sometimes focusing on what truly matters is all it actually takes to build an empire. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. See you next time.